And she agrees with whatever Molly says, whatever Molly, right or wrong, she agrees with Molly. Because she knows Molly knows her math, okay? So if my Chelsea is watching me demonstrate something, I'm going to say, do you understand? And she's going to go,
Yeah.
Right, that's
so a teacher demo is neither concrete nor pictorial, it's very abstract. Okay? And I know that in science y'all use lots of demos because you don't want the kids really using scalpels and things maybe anymore. I don't know. Children do that. Anyway.
Well, let me tell you my world.
Well, let me finish that. So then we get to abstract.
Thought you were.
How's that one night?
That's all. We do this all the time. You should see
Oh, I
us
know.
at our house. And then our husband gets involved and it's a chaos. So going to abstract, anytime they have words, you know, remember I asked Ashley to talk in complete sentences? That's abstract, especially for ELPs, people, ELL people. Anytime they have, lost my whole train of thought, symbols, you know, like 3 + 2 = 5, just written in symbols, that's abstract. That's abstract. Or y = 3x + 4, that's abstract. So words, symbols are abstract. They should have done the concrete, gone through the pictorial where they're drawing, and then if you want to give them another picture, that's fine with me, and then to the abstract. Make sure they understand it before they get to that abstract, which is really difficult with your time constraints. So you have to be really creative and kind of make sure they get lots of concrete, and that will save you time later on the abstract. Okay? Denise?
Where do videos fit into that?
A video of what?
Well, okay, let's say you have Khan Academy, math video, whatever. Where does that fit?
Khan Academies are really great for parents who want to review, but it's taught very procedurally, and so it's abstract.
You have to already understand that if you watch Khan Academy videos.
Need a review,
Yeah, you cannot, it's not going to teach you initially how to.
not conceptually. You may can memorize it as I did, you know, when I was growing up. That's how I was taught. Just don't ask why, just do it. So that's how he teaches. He teaches to the abstract linear thinkers.
Before you tell your story, let me give you my world because it's going to play into some of the other examples that we're giving. So in our conversation this morning, and in this one, let me see. Okay, when you get into your notebook, you should see that many of these have a date on them, so you want to make sure you have the current date. So after today's discussion, there may be a new one because of our discussion. So in my world, on pictorial, I have put in this concrete column that the students are doing it. So if the students are manipulating the Cuisenaire rods, that's concrete. If the students are drawing it, to me, that's more concrete than pictorial. But if the teachers, see, she's shaking her head. And then the teachers would show the pictures or the diagrams or draw it on the board or whatever. So it's the continuum issue. It doesn't really matter what column that you put it in, but it's the continuum that a lesson should go through for the students to be able to understand. Okay?
So we can modify that. We can say concrete, pictorial with the kids drawing, pictorial with the teacher drawing, which is, you know,
Or showing pictures,
or showing pictures.
videos,
So videos. And then abstract,
words and numbers
words and numbers.
for science people. Okay, so Candace?
I had a few questions, but.
Oh, okay.
But, can
Loud.
I ask my questions now? Okay, so, the discussion about the video, I'm wondering, what is your take on blended learning environments? Would you?
So when would you do the videos in blended learning or flipped classrooms or whatever you want to call them, the latest fad of today? So where would that fit?
You would have to do the concrete in class and say, okay, go home, watch this video, and then discuss it when you got back. Because like if you didn't do the concrete, the video would just, that was my issue with the blended learning. Like you go ahead, you watch these videos, kids, it's not gonna stick. And so, and like you said, especially in math, they'll be looking for the cheat instead of looking for the concept, so it actually would slow you down. So you would have to do some of the concrete before. If not, assign the concrete too, like, you know, build this out of sugar cubes or.
I think the flipped works with direct instruction.
Mm-hmm.
So, because, you know, there's 3 phases on direct instruction. And most people think direct instruction is a lecture. That is not true. So, the input and modeling is done by the teacher, can be a lecture with the drawing on the board, etc. So maybe with direct instruction, that would work with flip, but it doesn't work with inquiry. It can't work with inquiry, and it doesn't work with the principle of concrete pictorial abstract either.
With what I've seen in research about blended learning, there is the whole, you're gonna get the new concept at home by yourself, and that doesn't work. I could see it where if they watched a video or did an activity before, you would use it as a time to pre-assess needed prior knowledge. Like, go home and do this activity, whether it's like a Google form or a quick video as action where, you know, they have the questions that go with the video. And then before the concept is taught, the teacher can look and go, oh, they don't know what they need to know, I better start there first. Or it could kind of trigger a,
So as a pre-assessment, you're talking about.
as a pre-assessment for the teacher, and also to kind of say, hey, remember when you did this we did this in 4th grade? And kind of reignite some of those things that they've learned in the past.
Okay.
So it's a tool, it's not a end-all be-all.
It's not a silver bullet.
Right.
If you're not teaching a new concept,
Right.
then possibly that would work. Yes, ma'am, Lindsay.
So if there's something that's not able to be hands-on, do you just find something like like she said, for example, she said
She said pillows.
matching up something, or I don't know,
Order of operations.
Order of words.
or
Board of
something.
operations is direct teach. Money is direct teach.
Process. Or
And
skill.
what about foldables? Is that pictorial? Depending on how you use
Where
it?
do you think it would fly along the
Wait,
continuum?
when you say multiples, you mean multiples of 2, multiples of 3?
Foldables.
Foldables. Where do you think?
Pictorial?
Did you say pictorial? You say abstract?
It can be concrete too. I think you could do a foldable, like for example, fractions, you could cut those fraction strips and they could be in there, and that's something that they can manipulate and work with. Then they can go and they can draw it, they can, you know, and then they can go and actually write them, so it could be all free.
But if they're only writing words on foldables or cutting out pictures and putting on foldables, the question is always where on that continuum should it be? So it doesn't mean that videos are wrong, or foldables are wrong, or any of those other kind of things. It's just one more arrow in your quiver, one more tool in your toolbox, one more strategy. Where does it fit? And you have to go back to your best practices. So there's not, you know, it's a lot more mushy than people portray it to be. And it's a lot of professional decision making that the teacher has to make. But if they don't know the content, that's everything. If you don't know the content, you're not going to make good decisions about teaching math or science. And you don't know the pedagogy or the best practices, then we can't make good decisions about when to use the video or when to use, you know, whatever strategy the latest fashion is, which may be good. I'm not saying that they're not good, but they're not silver bullets. They're just one more tool.
So you have to have the content and the pedagogy together. They have to work together, because I have seen teachers, particularly in high school, great with their content, couldn't teach their way out of a paper bag. The kids ate them up. They were there, what, 6 weeks and they quit. You know, I've seen that. I'm sure y'all have too. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
As I said, I'm switching schools and going, and we had a summer reading. I'm pretty sure we're going into a flipped classroom model, strategy, whatever you want to call it.
For all content?
I'm going to teach math,
Okay.
so for math, for sure. So if this is going to be a conversation when we get there for the summer, you know, those 2 weeks before, would I have an argument in saying that it's not, you know, since, because I went to like 2 camp sessions on the flipped, and it was pretty much like that's his direct teach. You know, instead of giving that lecture in class, he would be giving it on a video, and they watch it at home.
Abstract.
So then I could bring up that
Yes, you could ask
But in
them.
a direct teach though, would it,
And then the next day we would
still
come,
be the first part of the lesson?
It's basically naked math.
The
It's
next-
very procedural.
Yeah,
but the next day, you know, once he's introduced, or me, whatever, then that's when the kids would get the hands-on when they come back.
and
To class that
how do you
next day.
feel about that, does that make sense?
For those linear students, like we just, yes, for me, that would be perfect.
Right.
And
But
any
for
of that, what
those-
percentage of your students are overly abstract?
Probably very little,
Yeah.
very few.
In elementary school, very few.
What about those high school students that get up to high school and they still haven't learned the math because we've done it so procedurally?
I mean, they can copy your steps.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna tell you, I was the world's worst teacher the first 5 years, I told you that. And I have proof, I can, when I get up there, I'll bring a kid down here and they can tell you how bad I was, okay? If you're there. But, where was I going with this for sure?
procedural, just copy
I was-
stuff.
I think it's gonna depend on the lesson. I think if it's something that you would use in direct instruction,
Like you said,
model
some
for.
things are just,
Part of our.
have to be direct teach.
right, and so if direct instructional model is the best way to teach it,
Then that would be okay
it
to,
would seem to me, in my world, that that would be okay.
okay.
But in other cases, and, you know, we could get more specific later, this is just the beginning of this conversation, this is not all of it.
Okay.
That it would seem that you would put something else in the flip,
Video. Well, you
and
said
where
like-
it would go in the lesson.
Right, you still like to make it, or keep it consistent, you know, if you're gonna do every night, I mean, what, maybe it's review problems, you know, it
Here's my
can't be a
question,
direct teach
Rochelle.
every night.
If they're watching this video and you're teaching division of fractions, and they get a complete misconception on that, then you have to spend extra time on your hands-on, clearing up any misconception before you can continue.
Right.
Okay?
But, sorry, but I think it was just that 10 minutes or so, that lecture, you still might have had misconceptions directly after a lecture.
Exactly.
So but we're trying to just save those 10 minutes.
So that's why you start with the concrete, not lecture.
But it's also why the second phase of a direct instruction model is guided practice.
Right.
So that's where you can pick up the misconceptions, and that's what happens in
And that
the
would have been the
classroom.
next, kind of next
Yeah.
day
Right,
in class.
right. I had a question and I forgot it.
Whose hand was that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you not do flipped classroom backwards? To where like you do the concrete in class and they're, who's saying?
The girls.
Go ahead.
What in here? And doing the concrete in class first and then your, you know, at home assignment, whatever. The thing they do the morning of the next day, in the lab is, couldn't that be like their homework or more of
they've
a
already
pictorial
done.
abstract, but that would be after the
But that's like a
concrete?
regular traditional, but I think the whole thing about a flipped classroom is when the kids go home, and maybe they go home with misconceptions after that day's, the teacher is not there to correct those misconceptions at home. So the student is doing homework, wrong perhaps. Mom and dad is helping him, or wrong
Probably.
perhaps. And so that is only,
Or what's worse.
you know, compounded at home. So I think the whole idea is when they go home and do that practice, that it's now doing the practice in the classroom where either students or peers or
But that's
The
your job as a
teacher-
teacher to figure out where that home video fits in the lesson and for you to design your instruction so it fits. I don't think our role or my role is to say flipped classrooms are wrong. They're not wrong. They're just another tool, and the wisdom is how you use that tool.
Okay.
And so you know best practices, we know you know it. So your job is to figure out where it should be, and I think hopefully you can have that conversation, not that you're against flip videos, but they have to be used appropriately or students are not gonna benefit from it. And they're not gonna benefit from the work that you put into making those and their time to, you know, to use them. And it takes a lot of time to make a good video. Okay, can we hold this and come back? Because this is only the beginning of this conversation. Okay.
It's kind of ominous. Okay.
Laura? I tell you what, you're gonna do some lab work now, so how about passing these up? I thought we might be able to review those, but they're in your notebook, so after we get through with the morning session, I am gonna ask you to put those in your notebook, or go to your notebook and read through that first page.
Lavender, I never did find that.
We don't have,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
we don't have the lesson, we have it in this, the lesson.
No, those are not yours, those are our class sets. So our job is to make sure that you have those.
I don't,
And that's why we have graduate students back there taking notes, so, you know, we got it, we're on it.
I don't know, but what do you need?
Sarah, I'll talk to you about it.
Got it. Thank you.
I know.
Okay, I
So if you
found
need
it
to
in
pass
here.
these notebooks up,
Okay, we're gonna get started with our science instruction. And your first task is, your desks need to be totally clear. You might wanna keep something to write with. And everything you own, bags, everything needs to
out
be
in the
out in the hall.
hallway, out in the hallway, all
So
these
you've
big
got
bags.
3
out in the
minutes
hallway.
to do that. On your way in, pick up a piece of note paper that's on the front desk.
You need something to write with or something to write on?
Just with.
And if any of you have your smart microscopes and haven't given them to us, we're saving them right here for you so you can use them maybe later on today. Kind of out of your way.
Back there, no matter. Y'all leave me.
Nothing but. And those are not at all.
I'm in my car.
Greg?